Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of February 22nd to 28th, 2026, where I take a look at a couple of stories that caught my attention and give you my thoughts and my opinion about them. No video review for this week, though. It's usually the end of the month, and this is where I usually take that time when maybe to catch up on certain things in there and all. And also, despite what appeared what was going to happen with Netflix, it looks like in the end Paramount ended up buying Warner Brothers, and some folks are okay with it, some are not, depending on your perspective, though. I mean, again, I thought Netflix was going to get it, though, despite everything going on, but in the end it turns out to be that wasn't the case, though. But in either case, obviously, whether you think this is good or bad, at the end of the day, that's going to be your call, to be exact and everything. But anyway, we got 3 stories to cover this week, including some information about why some of the leadership, including Sarah Bond, stepped down from Microsoft and Xbox, though, and there seems to be more information that comes out courtesy of The Verge to some extent. We'll also look into basically a report coming out about fans asking for refunds because of the way the so-called graphical update that was being offered to Xenoblade Chronicles X for the Nintendo Switch 2. And of course, the Circana numbers have come out this week, though, with some interesting look at a couple of things, including basically one game in particular that was revealed during the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct last April, though, and it's very interesting to see where this ranked and everything. If you're interested where I got the source of these information, links will be in the description of this video down below, assuming you're watching this either on YouTube or Patreon. And of course, the timestamps will also be there as well, if there are certain parts of this video you wish to skip to and all. But before we get started, I like to do what I like to call the quick My 2 Cent, stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details and all. The first one has to do with a report that seems to come out by that the Saint Row series, at least for now, seems to be dead. After supposedly, basically, the reboot did not do as well as what Embracer Group and Deep Silver and THQ Nordic were hoping for. That version definitely did not go over very well with everyone out there. Supposedly it claimed that a director was going to pitch a prequel to the Saints Row series, but obviously that doesn't seem to happen at all. It is a bit unfortunate, though. The one Saints Row games I played were Saints Row 3 and Saints Row 4 and all. So who knows about the Saints Row series going forward, but it does seem to indicate that don't expect any Saints Row games coming out anytime soon and all. We also learned that there seems to be some silence going on with Sony and all that over basically the whole situation with Bluepoint being closed and everything. That generated an enormous amount of backlash from a lot of fans, at least online, because of that studio being closed and everything. In fact, there's supposedly a report coming out that, or at least some stories going around, that they did actually pitch an idea for a Bloodborne remaster or remake, and supposedly Sony said yes to it, but From Software says no. I don't know how accurate that report truly is, though, but whatever the case may be, though, it does seem to indicate that not everyone is still not happy with idea of Sony, closing down Bluepoint and everything. We also learned that also Fallout 4 has come out this week for the Nintendo Switch 2 and all, and it's available both. I think physically won't come out, although that's going to be a code in the box, but the digital version is out right now. And some of the impressions that have come out for the game have been pretty good, at to say the very least. It does seem to indicate it runs at 30, 40, and 60 frames per second, which is certainly nice. There is some criticism about some of the visuals on the 60 FPS side, but again, that comes down to your preference and taste. And there's also no gyro aiming or mouse control, which some view that as being odd and all. I've yet to try the game out, though, but hearing that there's a 60 FPS mode, I might try it out, though. I might get it. If I do, I'll probably get it through the Nintendo eShop, not go buy the physical version or anything like that. But supposedly, Bethesda has come out saying that Fallout 4 and the Switch 2 would be getting DLS support and stability improvement, which is very interesting indeed, considering the fact that we've seen a lot of developers try to see if they could utilize the Switch 2's DLSS and everything, and the fact that Bethesda was able to get this game running on the Switch 2 without DLSS, that's kind of impressive in a way, though. So I gotta say hats off to Bethesda for pulling this off, though. I know that Bethesda has been criticized before in terms of ports of some of their games, or how they've handled, when they release some of their games, everything, have a history of being buggy and all. And you know what? I do understand that criticism is sort of justifiable and all, but so far, based on what I've seen so far for Fallout 4 on the Switch 2, I'm actually impressed what Bethesda has done, though. It does give me some hope, not complete, but some hope on the Elder Scrolls Oblivion, basically how that's going to run on the Switch 2 and all. So we'll have to wait and see on that one and everything. We also learned that supposedly Jeff Grubbs has come out basically saying that PlayStation Studios have managed to get Gran Turismo 7 running on the Nintendo Switch 2, which, again, Jeff Grubbs is right and wrong, can be right or wrong on this to be exact, though. But if it is true, that is certainly interesting indeed. However, given some of the direction Sony has gone so far in terms of the multi-platform approach, though, has been, well, let's just say not on the level that Microsoft has been doing so far and all. And there are recent reports coming out that they may scale back in terms of doing single-player games onto multiple systems compared to multi-platforms all. Some believe that this could be just, if this is true, could be just them experimenting with the Switch 2, as there are some reports indicating that they are looking at the idea of a handheld sort of for their for the PS6 and all, sort of a hybrid kind of approach. So it's possible that could be the case. I mean, there's always a possibility Gran Turismo could make its way to the Switch 2, but I certainly have my doubt about that, though. I think this could be just experimenting with seeing what the Switch 2 is capable of and seeing what they need to do should they decide to release this so-called rumor handheld that would be for like the PS when the PS6 launched and everything. So I mean, if it is true, I think that's what could be the case. They're just experimenting on it, though. Would be interesting if Gran Turismo does make its way to the Switch 2, but even as a Nintendo fan myself, I have my doubts if that's going to happen or not. We also learned that supposedly there was a casting call that seems to be confirming that Wolfenstein 3 could be in development and could reveal a new character and all. Now, so far, nothing has been confirmed at this time, though, but given the fact that Machine Gun Games has just concluded, finishing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle with a Switch 2 version coming up and everything like that, it does seem to indicate that the next game could be the Wolfenstein game, and I'm very curious to see what direction they go with this third entry in the Wolfenstein series. We know that Wolfenstein The New Order took place during, like the 60s, same with the New Colossus. Wolfenstein Youngblood, which was mixed to some people depending on who you ask, and took place during the 80s and all. So I'm curious to see where this entry will take place. Will it take place in the 90s, an alternate version of the 90s and all? So time will ultimately tell, but I am down with another entry in the Wolfenstein series. We also learned that supposedly there's a rumor going around that a new or remake of Bayonetta could be in development, though, along with Metal Gear Rising Revenge, a remaster or remake of that game, though. Supposedly the rumor is claiming that it will use Unreal Engine 5, that Platinum may have gotten the rights back to Bayonetta, although there's no plans to get Bayonetta 2 or 3 over by any chance, though. So again, this rumor should be taken with a grain of salt and all. That being said, however, it is worth pointing out that supposedly the claim is that this was leaked by someone who got the leak of Ninja Gaiden 4. So time will ultimately tell if this rumor is true or not, though. I would definitely be down with another entry in the Bayonetta series, but with Hideki Kamiya leaving Platinum and going back to Capcom and currently supposedly working on the sequel to Okami and everything, the future remains uncertain with that franchise, though. Although, given how they handled Ninja Gaiden 4, though, it does give me some hope, not completely confidence, but at least some hope to a certain extent and everything. And in the movie and TV show part of the Quick My 2 Cent, though, we are learning that the creator of the Nier Automata series, Yoko Taro, is basically working on a brand new entry or brand new series based on the legendary anime Neon Genesis Evangelical, which would be very interesting to see, though. I mean, that is considered to be a very classic anime out there, though, but it's also considered to be very controversial at the same time, depending on your perspective and view on that one, though. But either case, though, I am sort of curious about seeing this one happen, though, especially from the creator of the Nier and Nier Automata series, though. We're also learning that supposedly, after years in the wilderness, it does appear that we'll be getting an anime based off of Genshin Impact, which is kind of surprising we didn't get one sooner or everything. So I am very curious to see how that one's going to does, and if it does well, could this open the door to others like Hokai, if I'm saying the name correctly, Star Rail, or Zen Zone Zeroness getting their own adaptation as well. And last but not least, we are learning that supposedly a UK chain put out that seemed to indicate that Wario could be in the upcoming Super Mario Galaxy movie. Now, nothing has been confirmed at this time, and so far the trailers have not yet shown any indication of Wario or anything like that. There have been some people making some theories, but nothing 100% confirmed and all. That being said, I could see Wario in a Mario movie acting as a villain or something like that. That is a possibility. So it's something I certainly won't rule out, but ultimately we'll have to wait and see once the movie comes out April 1st to determine if that is true or not. We know the movie is based off of going to be drawing inspiration from the Super Mario Galaxy video games. That's a given, to be exact, though. But it certainly would be interesting to see if Wario does make an appearance in this movie or not, though. Okay, with the Quick My 2 Cent part now done, along with the movie and TV show part of the Quick My 2 Cent, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with the Circana numbers that just recently came out last week, though. This came out on Friday at the time when I just did my last week's My 2 Cent video. And so with this one come out, I did want to take a look at a couple things, see what the Switch 2 is doing, and especially see how well Final Fantasy VII Remake and Integrate was doing on both the Switch 2 and the Xbox Series S and S, because Square Enix has basically been taking basically following Final Fantasy II Rebirth, or supposedly the claim the game didn't do as well as Square Enix has hoped for, although that's debatable depending on who you're asking. They were going to take a full multi-platform approach in terms of bringing their games over, and seeing Final Fantasy VII Remake announced during the Nintendo Direct last April, the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct last April, was certainly interesting indeed to see how that game was going to do. Well, the game came out, though, and it's very interesting to see the impact that and also the Xbox Series S and X had on that game in general and all. Anyway, this is from VG Charts, though, and they point out that, at least according to what Circana released, though, especially from Matt Piscatella, it reads that, quote, the PS5 was the best-selling console in the US for January 2026 in terms of units and dollar sales, according to the figures from Circana. They include data for 4 weeks period of January 4th to 31st. The Nintendo Switch 2 was the second best-selling console in both metrics. The Switch 2 was offset the decline in the other 3 consoles. PS5 saw dollar sales drop 17% year on year, while the Xbox Series X and S was down 27%, and the Switch 1 fell 79%. Eesh, ouch on the Switch 1, but yeah, it's sooner or later the Switch 1 will be phased out at some point down the road. Anyway, in terms of units sold, the order is PS5 in first, Switch 2 is in second, Xbox Series X and S is in third, Switch 1 is in fourth, Nexus Playground in fifth place, and PC portability in fifth place. In terms of dollar sales order, is the PS5 is in first, Switch 2 is in second, Xbox Series X and S is in third, PC Portable in fourth, Nexus Playground in fifth, fifth place, and Switch 1 also in fifth place. So despite the PS5 being like almost like 6 years old, still continuing to sell very well and everything like that. Although it'll be very interesting to see how that and the Switch 2 also does with that whole RAM shortage situation that has been going around lately and all. Anyway, moving on, they also pointed out that Call of Duty Black Ops 7, which, has sort of didn't go down with everybody out there, was the best-selling game in January, and 7th year in a row. Call of Duty was number 1 in December. It's now the 5th best-selling game of the year. They also pointed out that Code Vein 2 also debuted at number 11th, with Final Fantasy VII Remake on Switch 2 and Xbox Series X this month. On the all chart, the game shot up from 225th to 9th place. That is, I have to admit, that's very impressive and everything. Anyway, in terms of the 20 best-selling games on physical and full digital release and everything, they have Call of Duty Black Ops 7 at number 1, NBA 2K26 at number 2, Madden NFL 26 at number 3, Minecraft at number 4, Battlefield 6 at number 5, EA Sports FC 26 at number 6, Grand Theft Auto 5 at number 7, Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 8, Final Fantasy VII Remake at number 9, Forza Horizon 5 at number 10, Code Vein 2 at number 11, Ghost of Yotei at number 12, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 at number 13, EA Sports College Football 26 at number 14, Helldivers 2 at number 15, Pokemon Legends ZA at number 16, Split Fiction at number 17, Elden Ring at number 18, Flight Simulation 2024 at number 19, and Fallout 4 at number 20 though. It's going to be interesting to see if Fallout 4 ranks a little bit higher now that game is on the been released on the Switch 2 and all that. That would be very interesting to see where that one goes though. Anyway, in terms of the best-selling games on the PlayStation platform for January 2026, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 7 at number 1, NBA 2K26 at number 2, Madden NFL 26 at number 3, EA Sports FC 26 at number 4, Grand Theft Auto 5 at number 5, Battlefield 6 at number 6, Minecraft at number 7, Ghost of Yotei at number 8, Forza Horizon 5 at number 9, and Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 10. Over onto the Xbox side, we have NBA 2K26 at number 1, Madden NFL 26 at number 2, Minecraft at number 3, Battlefield 6 at number 4, EA Sports FC 26 at number 5, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 at number 6, Final Fantasy VII Remake at number 7, Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 8, EA Sports College Football 26 at number 9, and Helldivers 2 at number 10. Over on Nintendo's platform, though, we have Pokemon Legends ZA at number 1, Final Fantasy VII Remake at number 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza at number 3, Animal Crossing New Horizon at number 4. It was at number 21 last month. Super Mario Party Jamboree at number 5. Metroid Prime Beyond at number 6. Last month it was at number 2. Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2 at number 7. Very curious to see how that game does with the upcoming Mario Galaxy movie coming out though. Mario Kart 8 at number 8. Minecraft at number 9, and Hogwarts Legacy at number 10. And finally, over on the PC side, they have Code Vein 2 at number 1, Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 2, Battlefield 6 at number 3, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 at number 4, Grand Theft Auto 5 at number 5, Minecraft at number 6, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 at number 7, Fable Anniversary at number 8. Last month it was at number 106. Elden Ring at number 9. And then finally Fallout 4 at number 10. Last month for the PC was at number 39. So the takeaway, at least from this list, to be exact, seemed to indicate that obviously despite seems that Call of Duty Black Ops 7 seems to be doing well despite not being loved by a lot of folks out there and everything, and supposedly Blizzard or Activision is going to re-examine their Call of Duty approaches and everything. How that will play out remains to be seen, though. The PS5 continues to sell very well, despite the Switch 2 being out and everything like that, although it will remain to be seen if the Switch 2 does catch up. I believe it will, but time will ultimately tell on that one, especially with the RAM shortage and everything. But the big takeaway was Final Fantasy VII Remake making its debut on the charts for both the Xbox and the Switch 2, though. On the Xbox side, it was at number 7, and on the Switch 2 side, it was at number 2. That's very impressive indeed for that, though. Hopefully Square Enix is happy with what they saw on that, and hopefully this is a sign to indicate that, it'll be interesting that maybe they'll continue with this multi-platform approach, though. It'll be interesting to see how Rebirth does once that one comes out. We know that it'll probably be coming out during the summer, especially for the Switch 2 and everything. It also seemed to indicate with the Switch 2 version that I think kind of reinforces somewhat of an argument that despite it being on a game key card, and I know depending on who you're asking, game key cards are certainly a mixed bag and not loved by everybody out there who owns a Switch 2. Nevertheless, despite it being on a game key card, it doesn't seem to have prevent that game from doing very well and everything like that. So I do think it kind of reinforces some of the argument that the game key card isn't creating the stigma or negativity as some have thought it would be. I don't think the argument's going to go away with it, though, but I think there may be some arguments in indication of game key cards may not be as bad, and this mostly has to do with Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate being 90 gigabytes, though, so there's some arguments back and forth on it, though. I don't think it's going to go away, but I think it shows that not everybody is not buying the game because it's a game key card as much as some on the internet make it sound like it is. But overall, though, very interesting numbers indeed, though. PS5 continues to do very well for now. Switch 2 is still in there, and it's still doing, I think, well, at least in my book, though. And Final Fantasy VII Remake and Integrate doing well on both the Xbox and the Switch 2, and it's going to be interesting to see Square Enix multi-platform approach going forward and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2, and this one has to do with Xenoblade Chronicles X, the Switch 2 version, as there are reports coming out that seem to indicate that fans are asking for a refund and everything. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video for this week, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Xenoblade Chronicles X, particularly with the Switch 2 version that has come out. Now, last week, Nintendo kind of surprised us with a drop of the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Xenoblade Chronicles X, though, which brings the game up to 60 frames per second. Supposedly, you could play that in 4K at 60 FPS and everything. And it was very interesting surprise, indeed, and I did kind of wonder if that opened the door to the possibility that Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, or Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3 could get basically that kind of treatment, though. However, it does seem to indicate not everybody is very pleased with it and have been asking for some refunds, and some of it has to do with the visuals not looking as good as some had hoped for, to be exact. Now, to be clear, I have not gotten the Switch 2 edition or anything like that. I haven't, paid for the update or anything like that, so it remains to be seen. I've yet to see it still, to see any of that. Plus, I have usually a 1080p screen and everything. I don't have a 4K screen or anything like that, so I would have to see for myself. But nevertheless, some fans are now asking refunds from Nintendo over what we saw with this Xenoblade Chronicles X Switch 2 upgrade, though. In an article from Nintendo Life, it reads that, quote, as time goes on, or at least parts of it, time goes on, fans have been digging into the update, and some are disappointed, reportedly asking Nintendo to refund the $5 for the Nintendo Switch 2 edition, Eurogamer reports. The problems are largely related to handheld play, where fans speculated that a filter or upscaler has been used to improve the texture, but it hasn't really worked in some cases, with some saying the game looks worse than the Switch 1 version. GVG highlights some shimmering and texturing issues throughout, both in docked and handheld, though the latter is much more prominent. Switch Up spotted some shimmering on characters and enemy shadows. Depending on how sensitive you are to some of this, you may not notice too many issues, but there are some here and many are not happy. Over on Reddit, some have managed to snag a refund, while others claim the Switch 2 edition looks worse than the Wii U edition, Wii U version. They also point out that we wouldn't go that far. We think the dock in the game runs beautifully for its most part, but it's clear people are unhappy. Following our pretty glowing hands-on time with the game last week, we since revised Xenoblade Chronicles X on Switch 2 over the weekend and spotted some of the larger issues ourselves. We updated throughout on the updates since then. Dock on the Nintendo Switch 2 edition is great, and the 60 FPS boost might be worth it alone. And in handheld, we could eventually look past some of the bigger upscaling issues because we were running around so much. But when you start focusing on some of the details, you could spot the problem and all. Now, as I said, I've yet to see anything I've yet to try it out myself. To be exact though, so I'll have to see for myself if this is actually true or not. Still, if this is true, assuming this is true, then yeah, that could be a problem, to be exact though, because up to this point we've seen Switch 2 editions of a lot of the games, and so far they seem to be doing good at everything. I mean, I've been playing Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and the 60 FPS certainly is a nice addition, indeed and all. But if there are seriously some graphical issues, especially with this update, then this is a problem Nintendo needs to fix, especially with a physical version supposedly coming out a little bit later this year and all. So as far as this refund thing, it could be true. I'm not saying it. I'm not going to rule out the possibility it's false or anything like that. There is a possibility they could be true. Could be a true situation. Nintendo has done some refunds before in the past. I remember when Tokyo Mirage Session in Japan, Nintendo came out and admitted that they should have informed their audience that this was going to be based on the Western version, not the Japanese version, and open up the refund for those who pre-ordered the game or anything like that. So there has been some cases, but not to the scale of basically what we've seen with what Valve has done with the Steam storefront in terms of the refund policy they have had. So I'm not sure Nintendo will do it though. They might. I mean, this could be true. I mean, still, some might argue you're asking for a refund for $5 or anything. That's what Nintendo's charging for this update. So depending on your perspective on this, but if this was a sloppy job though, then yeah, that's not good at all. And they have to really address this though. To be exact though, I still have to see it myself though. Based on some of the footage I've seen, I haven't spotted it though, but I could be wrong. And then again, like I said, I don't have a 4K monitor. Or TV. I have a 1080p TV, so I'll have to take a look at it myself and all. But overall, again, I don't know if the refund report is spot on. It could be not. But if it is a half-ass approach though, then yeah, that's not good, and Nintendo is going to have to figure out a way to address this problem and try to avoid this kind of situation if possible, especially if the reports are true that a lot of their games could take a little bit longer and that they're looking at doing Switch 2 editions of a lot of the Switch 1 games and everything, if that is the case or not. I don't know if it is, but if that is the case, then they're going to have to figure out how to avoid this kind of situation, indeed and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our third and final part, and this one has to do with supposedly more information about how Sarah Bond sort of left and how this is an Xbox approach may have not paid out as well as they may have hoped for, though. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our third and final part of our My 2 Cent video. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Xbox, particularly some of the things such as the this is an Xbox campaign and all. Now, as some of you are probably aware, I believe it was last week, Sarah Bond and basically Phil Spencer both basically we're going to be leaving Xbox in general, though. Phil Spencer will be leaving like supposedly around the summer or something like that. And this kind of was a surprise to a lot of folks, indeed, though. But some reports started to come out in terms of what this could mean for Xbox's future, especially with the new CEO coming in and all. It could mean a change to their multi-platform approach, which is always a possibility. Talking about in terms of the console and everything. But one thing in particular was a campaign that Microsoft launched, which was this is an Xbox, saying like your phone, your TV and all, that you didn't really need a console and everything like that. This has led to certain situations where the hardware sales has declined over the years, even though Microsoft has somewhat claimed that hardware sales isn't important, even though they're working on the next gen console for the Xbox brand and all. Well, one report, at least from The Verge, seems to indicate that this is an Xbox campaign may have not played out as well as Microsoft had originally had hoped for. In an article at least from Pure Xbox, which sort of covers this in a way, it reads that, quote, "A huge report has come out today as to supposedly behind-the-scenes details of Phil Spencer's Xbox retirement and Sarah Bond's sudden departure, and the arrival of new Xbox boss Asha Sharma." I apologize if I'm not saying her name correctly. And a bite that everyone's focus on is centered around Xbox Everywhere strategy and how pivot away from console peers hasn't worked out. In the Verge report, it claims that the controversial "This is an Xbox" strategy was led by Sarah Bond under the direction of Phil Spencer, and that the strategy has been failing eternally and questioned multiple times. The report suggests that the idea was obviously to reach potentially a million more Xbox customers by prioritizing the likes of mobile and cloud over consoles, but the results has been a classic case of chasing tomorrow's customers by neglecting today's. It even said that the initial "This is an Xbox" marketing campaign offended many Xbox employees internally. In the process, it mentioned that Xbox hardware revenue has declined for 3 financial years in a row and is likely to continue declining in 2026, which therefore signals that the pivot away from consoles hasn't gone well for Xbox. They point out you could go read the whole report yourself via the link above if you wish, and there's a lot more details that you might be interested though. They point out that we encourage you to remember this is only a report citing unknown sources, and Microsoft might have had a very different idea of what's failing and questioning actually means in regards of this strategy and all. So again, if this report is basically true though, then I've always felt that strategy was sort of mixed at best though, especially this whole multi-platform approach to a degree. I understand it's their choice, and that is true, it's their choice indeed and all, but I do kind of question if that strategy was probably the smart thing to do or not. And if what this report from The Verge is saying is true, it sounds like that may not have been the case at all. What that means going forward, especially with the new CEO, remains to be seen this time. It's possible that Microsoft could re-examine this approach and rethink it, to be exact, or it could be a possibility it could just outright ditch it altogether and everything like that. So we'll have to wait and see what they decide to do with this approach though, and it'll be very interesting to see what the new CEO does. She has made some very interesting comments, some of them that some may argue could be just PR, others are viewing it as basically it certainly is saying the right things and everything, but it's going to be very interesting though. It does sound like she wants to take a look at a lot of stuff. It's possible there could be some changes to the strategy, maybe a change to how the multi-platform approach they were originally going with though. That's a possibility. It could be ditching this is an Xbox campaign altogether. That could be a possibility as well. So there's a lot of things we'll have to take a look at though. But it seems if this report's true, and this is what Sarah Bond was pushing, it sounds like, at least according to what The Verge is saying, it did not pivot or play out as well. And it's possible this could have been one of the reasons why Sarah Bond left, basically, is leaving the Xbox division and everything like that. There could be other factors, I will admit that though, but there's no denying that this could be one of the reasons, indeed and all. So overall, it sounds like, at least according to The Verge, that this is an Xbox strategy didn't play out as well as they had hoped for. It's possible they could outright ditch this strategy or ditch this approach altogether, but at the same time, it's also possible they could basically decide to re-examine and reevaluate how they approach this. This is an Xbox approach going forward and everything, especially under the new CEO of the Xbox division at Microsoft and all. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about what Circana released for last week in terms of for January 2026 though? Are you surprised to see the PS5 is still doing very well and everything? Are you surprised to see that Call of Duty Black Ops 7 was the #1 game in January 2026, despite the not so positive response the game has gotten and all? Were you surprised to see Final Fantasy VII Remake and Integrate do well on the Switch 2 and on the Xbox systems? And do you think this could reinforce the argument Square Enix has been making in terms of taking more of a multi-platform approach and everything? What are your thoughts about the call for this refund over the Switch 2 edition of Xenoblade Chronicles X? Do you think this refund story is real by any chance? Do you think the game looks as bad as what people are claiming it is? Or do you think people are just blowing it way out of proportion? And what are your thoughts on this report on The Verge on the whole, this is an Xbox campaign and everything, or pivot away from console and all? Do you think what The Verge is saying is correct by any chance? Do you think that Sarah Bond may have left because of this reason, to be exact though? Do you believe that Microsoft will continue with this? This is an Xbox campaign. Do you think they'll rework it, or do you think they'll drop it altogether and all? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal Me, Patreon, or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this either on YouTube or Patreon. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!